Okay, so Jussie Smollett, he's going to jail. And this is the right result. He deserves to go to jail. He lied about his fake race crime, hate crime hoax. And he got caught. Boy, oh boy, did he get caught. He had a full trial and he was found guilty. Okay, so now he gets sentenced to 30 months of felony probation, which includes 5 months in jail. In addition, he has to pay restitution of more than $120,000 and a $25,000 fine as well for making false reports. None of that money matters. He's got a lot of dough to him. But 5 months in prison, that means something to him. And the remaining months of probation does it as well. And here is what he had to say in court yesterday in Chicago.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing about Black.
I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
I'm okay, Epstein. I mean, who does he think? It's like, are you at the center of some worldwide conspiracy where you have tapes on all these powerful people? And there's like, what is it? What? It's all about him and his weird narcissism to the very last moment of freedom.
In full disclosure, I'm not fully aware of the catalog of all of his acting work, but I am sure that was the best performance of his life, because that's what that was. That was nothing other than a performance. I mean, that was a script that he had been going through in his head that he just rolled out. He was ready to roll it out, and he rolled it out. First off, he did do it. He did do it. There's no shadow of a doubt. He did do it. He faked a hate crime. And in many ways, even though, you know, it's 150 days in jail and some of the other stuff, whatever it is, but like that seems like, okay, we can argue it's too little, too much, whatever. If you think of the cultural damage that this guy did to this nation, think of all of the politicians. We showed the clip this morning on my show, Kamala Harris's tweet when it happened about, you know, it's proof of systemic racism and AOC.
Wait, I have it here. Let me read it so people know what you're saying.
Yeah, let's jump to that. You want to jump to that?
January 2019. At Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. Can't wait until she walks that back and sets the record straight with America and apologizes for jumping on a bogus allegation that was obviously problematic from the start. But no, she won't be doing that.
No, of course. And by the way, AOC won't, Pelosi won't, the rest of them. They use it when they think it's valuable to them. And then when it always gets debunked as a hoax, which it always does, then they go silent because the media run cover for them. So, you know, this was the biggest story in America for weeks when it looked like a lynching. But now, do you think, and I get there's other things going on in the world, this war, whatever. But of course, this is going to fly under the radar. But to your bigger point at the beginning there about, you know, I'm not suicidal. Like, who does he think he is? I mean, look, I don't want the guy to kill himself. I think what he did was horrific. I wouldn't want anyone to kill themselves. But I'm pretty sure he's telling us he's going to kill himself because now wants to be the ultimate martyr now. No, it's not. You said it. I mean, Epstein, there were reasons that people might want Epstein dead, right? Like there was evidence that there were people that he knew and things that he knew and probably other documents that he had access to if he had ever gotten out or whatever. There's no reason to think that anyone wants to kill this guy.
No.
So he's telling you this is the ultimate part I can play to instigate the further racial war that I brought to America.
Look, the judge said to him yesterday, and listen, this is somebody who sat there the whole trial, looked at him, Judge James Lynn, spoke for more than 30 minutes before announcing that sentence and said, you, Jussie Smollett, you wrote the script. You picked the actors for the hoax. Your premeditation for this entire thing was an aggravating factor in the case. That's why you're getting jail time. And said, and I quote, there's a side of you that has this arrogance and selfishness and narcissism that's just disgraceful. You're not a victim of a racial hate crime. You're not a victim of a homophobic hate crime. You are just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime, and that is shameful. And I agree with that too, right? The brother of Jussie Smollett, Jojo, came out and said he spoke about his arrogance. He doesn't know the struggles my brother's encountering. We don't care. I couldn't care less what struggles he's encountering. You're going to prison because you did lie. You broke the law. You actually involved a lot of the Chicago PD's time, took up a lot of their time when they could have been solving murders and real crimes out on the streets of Chicago. That's what that black chief of police was saying in his very fiery speech when he announced that this was a made up hoax. And so I don't feel sorry for him at all.
You know, Megyn, we've all done things that we're not proud of in life. We've all made mistakes. We've all acted dishonestly. We've all done things, right? And it's your job as a human to try to do those things less and live the best, honest, forthright life that you can. But I'm obviously not sitting here as a perfect human. I know you aren't either. Everyone does these things. Now, but what you get within that, in the adventure of your life, I think, is you get these brief moments where you can set some of the stuff right. And he could have had one of those moments yesterday. You know, It's not the worst thing in the world, 150 days in jail, okay? Especially after knowing what he did and the strife that it caused in this country. He could have, upon hearing that verdict, instead of doing what he did, which is exacerbate the situation, make it about him now more, and it seems like he's going to do even worse things in jail, he could have had a moment and said, knowing that the whole world's looking at him, and said, I got caught up in something. We live in this oddly racialized society, and I've experienced racism in my life, and I did something that I should not have done. I did something that was illegal and immoral, that mixed up so many people, that led to some of the riots and all of these things. My intentions were good. I was trying to shine light on racial injustice or whatever it is that he believes the problem was that would have led him to doing this. Someone who I think is a millionaire, who has all the benefits in the world, right? He could have had a moment where he would have done that and then sort of set back some of the craziness that we're always fighting. But instead, he decided to set that craziness forward. And that's where we are.
And then adding insult to injury, Kim Foxx, the so-called DA out there, the Cook County prosecutor, who's just been a nightmare from the start. She's another George Soros-backed DA who doesn't want to prosecute crime, including his. The only reason he was tried and convicted in a court is because they appointed a special prosecutor, because they recognized how outraged the cop community was and the community writ large when it turned out this was an obvious hoax. And Kim Foxx doesn't want to prosecute anybody. So she got bigfooted by Dan Webb, same guy who put my friend Rod Blagojevich in jail. He's my new friend. He came on a couple Fridays ago. He was great. So anyway, she comes out. She has to offer a statement, all right, to the Chicago Sun-Times. And she says, on Thursday, the damaging, costly, and disingenuous criminal prosecution of Jussie Smollett came to an end. As the Cook County State's attorney, it pains me deeply to say that in this case, our justice system failed. Given the reputational price Smollett paid, the $10,000 bond we held, and the fact that he'd never been accused of a violent crime, we decided not to pursue a criminal conviction further. That should have been the end of the story. Then she goes on to say, my administration's vacated over 177 wrongful convictions, 87 of those in the last 3 years. Rather than working collaboratively to stem the rising crime or free the wrongly convicted, a small group of people hijacked the judicial system here to enact what is best described as mob justice. And here it is. Sadly, these tactics have become common. Black women, elected prosecutors around the country, have faced the same mob mentality. So it's all about her, Dave. It's about race, and it's about her being big-footed because of her race, not because she's a DA who won't prosecute crime.
Megyn, remember in the previous segment when I said that we have to give the devil his due and you have to be impressed by the damage that these people have created? The wokesters have created a cult-like belief that victimhood is everything. So not only is Jussie Smollett a victim of his own doing, but still pretending to be a victim now, but now you've got the prosecutor, pretending that she's the victim. Everyone pretends that they're the victim because they put that at the height of the hierarchy of what's important. And if you can somehow perceive yourself to be a victim, then you are a victim. But, these Soros-backed DAs that are all over the place. This is not a conspiracy, by the way. I'm sure Media Matters is watching your show as they watch mine every day, and they want to get us on every little thing that we say. It is not a conspiracy theory. We know that George Soros puts tons of money towards these crazy left-wing DAs who end up in San Francisco. George Gascon in San Francisco, what did he do? He destroyed San Francisco. And then what happens in the world of left-wing California politics? You become the DA of LA, and then you destroy LA. And now San Francisco's got this guy, Chesa Boudin, who's even worse than him. And then it happens in Chicago and Seattle and all these other places. They make everything worse. And then you're not going to believe who has to come in and fix these cities. It's those scary, mean conservatives, sort of like in New York City back in the late 80s when progressive hero David Dinkins destroyed the city. And I remember, even though I grew up in Long Island, I remember going to visit my grandparents who lived in New York City, and it was disgusting. And I literally remember once walking through Times Square and my mom putting her hand over my eyes because she didn't want me to see all the sex shops and the homeless and the whole thing. And then who had to fix it? This guy came in named Rudy Giuliani, and they said he was mean and he hated black people and all the stuff. And then what did he do? He gave New York City basically a 25-year incredible run that then Bloomberg pretty much worked with and continued. Yeah. And then what happened? It came crashing down by Bill de Blasio, another lefty, I would argue socialist.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.